What's up, guys? Before we get into today's video, Dad and I just want to let you guys know that we just dropped some brand new Stud Pack holiday merch. Finally, right? I'm sporting the Rudolph Red Stud Pack long sleeve. Dad's got the Jolly Green Stud Pack hoodie with the logo on the back. And these guys are very limited, okay?
Very limited.
And here's the kicker, guys. While you're watching this on Tuesday morning, Dad and I are actually sitting in our merchandise department ready to fulfill any orders from now until noon Central Time, because we're actually hopping on a plane this afternoon to go visit some family. So if you guys want the shirts and the hoodies before Christmas, you got to order before noon, because we are literally sitting here waiting for them to come in. So we're super excited, and they're very comfy, right?
They are. I'm warm. It's about 45 degrees out here, and I'm just fine. We're going to bag them up and drop them off at the post office while we head to the airport.
That's right. But we got a really interesting subject for them today. So let's get into it. Cool.
Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. I'm Paul with Stud Pack, and as you can see, Jordan and I are back here at one of our main remodel projects. And check it out. He is actually standing on a stack of 12-foot long pieces of drywall. Now, in all honesty, all our 8-footers are over here, but we do like to show off with the 12-footers. Makes it much easier for us to do a room like this. But our electricians are done, our plumbers are done with the rough end, and we're waiting on an inspection. And while we're waiting, we thought it'd be a good time to put up blocking all over this house for a lot of different reasons. And before you click off and say, I'm not watching a video on blocking, all you do is put 2x4s behind the cabinets. Well, we think it goes a lot deeper than that, and you're gonna look like a rock star when you put blocking in the bathrooms, and you can put that tissue holder anywhere she wants it and put up those curtains, and they're never coming down. So let's head back into the master bathroom, and I'm gonna show you what we're talking about. All right, guys, back here in the master bath, and as you can see, this is a complete gut, and our plumbing's already done, our rough plumbing. This was actually the same location as the original valve as far as the height is concerned. Of course, we changed it to a modern one. And what we have here, this is all 2x4s. The Stud Pack right here has 2x4s, but over here it's 2x6s. And look what they did here. They're almost touching down here at the bottom, but as we go up, they get farther and further apart. And of course, all my plumbing, the center line, was right in the middle of that big mess. Now, I knew my plumber was gonna need some blocking back here to attach this valve body to. So I got out my buzz saw, made a couple of cuts here, made a couple of cuts here, knocked out the waste, then I had to come from the side so I had a nice flat bottom. But then of course, this screw right here missed the stud. So I had to make it deeper and add this little plywood block. So when my plumber got here, he said, you know what, Mr. Stud Pack, we need some blocking up here for the shower arm. We got this drop ear 90 for this PEX tubing. It needs to be secured to some blocking. And like we said, we were right in the middle here. And I didn't want to go through all this again with my buzz saw, but I had all my hole saws with me. So I got out the 4.5-inch one, and I drilled a hole in a sheet of 3/4-inch plywood. And I did that to guide the hole saw, because the pilot bit, which normally guides the hole saw, is in the middle here, and this thing would have skated all around. So once I had that attached there, I could drill out the studs. And as you can see, I actually used the hole that came out of there as my blocking, and it worked great. Now this is super strong here. This isn't gonna move. And if you've been in the game as long as me, you know how frustrating it is when you're taking a shower and this is loose and this is loose. So now this is all solid as a rock because of our custom blocking. So let's take you on a tour around the rest of the house and show you some other areas where we think custom blocking is critical and that you may wanna consider on your project. And so before we start talking about the blocking in the kitchen, and we're gonna get to that, we thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about blocking in some spots that a lot of people might miss. And one of those areas is around windows, gang. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a ladder with my wife hanging curtains, and I know that I've got a jack stud and a king stud. I've got 3 inches of framing that I can put the bracket in. Where does she want it? At 4 or 5, right? Now I know I gotta open that little bag of parts that comes with the hardware and try to make it work. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put blocking right up here on the right corner and the left, maybe up to a foot out. So no matter what kind of window treatment they get, we're gonna have solid blocking up here, and we're not gonna have a billion holes in the wall due to a failed anchor or a pulled out screw like we're all familiar with. And another great place is your closets. Now in this closet, we're not gonna do anything in here except paint. But check this out. There was no blocking behind here. They added this cleat, but look what I can do. We actually showed this in another video. This pipe poked through the drywall, and now it's in the master bath. What I typically do, if this were gutted, these rods are almost always 12 inches off the back wall. I'll put a stud at 12 inches. So the little cup that holds these pipes will be in that stud. So you got to figure out your closet layout, whether it's something like this or that ventilated shelving, which has 1,000,000 of those clips, and plan ahead and get all your blocking in ahead of time. And another place we like to add blocking is above a fireplace. You're probably going to have a mantel. It's going to need some blocking. You may have a flat screen TV, a big heavy mirror, or a heavy picture. So I always like to put blocking in the middle of a fireplace all the way up, and I got blocking top to bottom, and of course I accounted for my mantel. So remember gang, you can really put blocking wherever you want it. It's up to you. Plan ahead, think about it, and I've actually seen blocking put on a whole wall. I've seen 3/4 plywood put in an entire kitchen. It gives the cabin installers a place to put a screw anywhere, and they love it. That's a bit extreme, but that is an option. And if you put blocking in your wall and you decide not to use it, well, it's always there in the future. No harm, no foul, and it didn't cost you that much. We're actually going to use a lot of scraps for our blocking. So let's go outside and get the scraps, and we're going to show you what we're going to do in the kitchen. Now my base cabinets are going to be 34.5 inches tall, right? And I'm not accounting for the floor yet. We're going to mention that in a second. But let's say our cabinets are 34.5 inches tall. That's kind of the standard here. I'm going to make a mark here, and then I'm going to come down 2 inches to 32.5. That 32.5 is the center line of this row of blocks. So if my screw is a little high or a little low, I'm still going to hit that block. I typically use 2x4s, but I have a bunch of 2x6s, 2x10s, and even some plywood that we're going to use for all our blocking. Another good tip is to use a story pole for the center lines for all your blocking. So there's a center line for the blocking for the base cabinets, right in the middle. Come up here, determine the blocks for the bottom of your uppers, make a mark, center line, and mark it on there. Kitchen cabinets, uppers. Make a mark up here, kitchen cabinet, upper blocking. Here's the blocking for the hood. Here's the blocking for the microwave. Then you can turn it around, take it to the bathrooms. Here's the center line for the vanities. Vanities are different heights, right? Some are lower than kitchen cabinets, some are taller than kitchen cabinets. Here's the blocking for my towel ring. Here's the blocking for my towel bar. Here's the blocking for my toilet paper, etc., etc. You get the point. And then what you got to do, once you're done with this, go hide it in a safe place so you don't use it for blocking. And then when it comes time to hang the towel bar, you just bring this out, boom, you got it right there. No tape measure involved. All right, guys, we've been talking about blocking for a while. Let's stop talking and actually put some in. I'm gonna show you 2 different methods. Hang in there with me because I'm gonna show you a couple of tricks I think you're gonna find pretty interesting. Now, we're using the existing blocking just as an example, and we're gonna continue the rows. Remember, this is not gonna be our final blocking. It's just for demonstration purposes. So you've already got your center line marked off of your story pole. The center line, remember, is where you're gonna put your screw. Behind cabinets, a 2x4 is plenty wide enough. You're gonna be able to hit that fine. So imagine this row is gonna be for some cabinets. I'm going to fasten them with my nail gun. Now you can use a hammer and some nails, drive them by hand, or you can put some 3-inch screws in there. Don't use drywall screws because they're too brittle. So check this out. I'm going to nail this off the same way they did back then, and you'll notice there are no nails exposed right here. In other words, they didn't have to toenail it. Here's what they did. They drove 2 nails here on the end, and they came over here on this side, and they went in and then we're done, guys, and no nails right here. Now, sometimes as you get to a corner, if you're in a closet, you don't have room to get a nail gun in there, a screw gun, your nail and your hammer, and you're gonna have to toenail it like that. What happens when you do that, the nail doesn't set all the time, so you might get a bump in your drywall. You don't want that, so you have to drive that flush. The other thing that can happen, if you toenail, you'll push this block back, and I'm gonna show you what happens there on this lower section. So we showed you this method. You're using all the same 2x material, 2x4s, 2x6s, something like that. But let's say you want to mix it up. Check this out. Imagine I just put in this 2x4 block. I'm going to skip a bay, and I've got another 2x4 block, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to use the same nailing method I did on this one. 2 in the end, and on this side, I can catch them right here. Now we've gone along and we've installed 2x4s in every other bay. We're going to come back with a wider 2x material, in this case 2x6s, put it in those bays we left empty, eyeballing the center of the blocking with my line where my screws go. Then come right here. Thumb, 3, 4. That is solid, it'll hold up the world, and that's an easy way to do it. So that's our 2x blocking. We really like it for kitchen cabinets, grab bars, handrails down a stairway, anything you need a lot of strength. But sometimes we don't need that much strength, and we may run out of this, but we always have our other favorite material for blocking, and that is 3/4 inch plywood. We can actually customize it for any shape we want, rectangular, triangle. You saw us do a round one back there, absolutely. And it is very easy to cut and customize, and it gives you a much bigger target than a little 2x. So let's take you back in one of the bathrooms. We're gonna cut a piece for you and show you how we attach it. All right, guys, check it out. This is a perfect example of where we use plywood, and that is equivalent to almost a 2x12. And we're not millionaires. We don't have 2x12s laying all over the place. So scrap plywood is a perfect option right here. And look how big that is. We can put the toilet paper holder down here. We can move it up. It gives us options, right? Now you saw us put some pocket hole screws in here. You gotta have a pocket hole jig. I'm gonna grab my screws and we're gonna screw that off. But check it out, I forgot all my bits at home. We were working on Jordan's car last night, so I grabbed the square drive out of my 10-in-1 tool and chucked it into my drill, and that's gonna work just fine. Let's get this piece of plywood in here, and you'll see how easy it is. Enough? So that's how we like to do plywood blocking. Now I'm gonna come back after the holidays with the proper bit, and I'm gonna tighten those. The chuck started hitting the wood, but you get the point. And it may seem like that's a lot of time and effort to put a block here just for the toilet paper holder, but I promise you, when it comes time to install that thing, and you do it in less than 5 minutes, you're gonna realize what a time saver this is, and it's never gonna fall off the wall. Now speaking of blocking, let's come over here and check out the blocking behind the shower valve. Now what do we got here? Looks like a drywall screw. Remember I said earlier, never use drywall screws? Well, my plumbers did this. Let's actually take one out, bud, and see how long it is or how short it is. Is it gonna be 1.25 inches or like a 5-inch one? Right in the middle.
Pretty good.
Maybe a 2-inch.
Well, how strong does it feel?
Well, this thing is very strong. I mean, they got 4 in here. They've got 4 in there. It's not supporting a lot of weight. At least it's better than most jobs, right, where there's nothing behind the shower valve. But what do you think? Should I change it out?
Well, you said something and now it's on YouTube, so I think you have to.
All right, we'll change them out to a nice 3-inch deck screw. Here we go, Torx drive. All right, I feel better. We'll do all the rest, we'll be good to go. So now that you got all your blocking done, well, we gotta remember where it is because it's gonna get covered by drywall, cabinets, and everything else. And if you use the story pole method, that is a good reference. But what's a better way? The story pole's kind of outdated, right? Well, we all have a smartphone, right? Let's grab a tape measure, get out your phone. You ready, bud?
Yep.
I usually put it down on the ground and I'll snap a picture.
It's upside down, Dad.
Oops, sorry. I never do that right. Take some pictures. You can put a caption on there so you remember where you were. You can even email those to clients. Put them in a folder somewhere and you'll always have them. Alrighty guys, we know that blocking isn't the most exciting subject in the world, but you're gonna be excited when you install your cabinets, your grab bars, your towel holder, whatever it is, and you can put a screw in there and that thing's gonna be strong and it's never coming down. So y'all know what you need to do, right? Put some blocking behind that like button so it's really strong. Give it a Christmas smash for Jordan and I. We'd really appreciate that. And while we're talking about Christmas, we hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas, a happy holiday season. Leave us some comments. Wish us Merry Christmas on your own, and we will see you on the next one.
Yes, it is the best day of the year. Hear, hear.